Greetings, people of Earth. Welcome back. My name is Jax, and today we are doing another chapter of the Tao Te Ching. And today we're going to do 76, Tolerance and Flexibility. So, we're just going to get straight into it because by now you should know how this all goes. Tolerance and flexibility. So, this kind of goes back to the one about kind of extremism, avoiding extremism, that kind of thing, I think a little bit, because in today's world, you don't see a lot of flexibility, just like you tend to see a lot of extremism, a lot of people staying on one side of the debate or the other, not being able to move, that kind of thing. And unfortunately, we are also a very intolerant society. And I don't just mean the typical stuff you talk about when you talk about intolerance on the internet. I think we're becoming very intolerant of other people's ideas, things that don't look or act the same way we do. It's becoming really alarming how intolerant people are on just a daily basis in their daily lives. And it comes from both sides. Like, I don't want anybody thinking that it's just on the right of this political spectrum or the left. If it's religious or non-religious, if it's black or white, left or right, up, down, anything you encounter, you find intolerance very rampant in almost every facet of life. I mean, like, I go to the gym every day and there's intolerance for gym people, you know, like we don't like each other. We have very little tolerance for certain behaviors, certain opinions. There are all kinds of things like that. Vegetarians, both ways. Some people are very intolerant of people who eat meat, and some people are very intolerant of vegetarians and just don't like each other. So I think it is quite alarming how much intolerance we have, and we look at people who have a lot of tolerance. Like, I think when I think of tolerance, I think of the Dalai Lama, because he sort of symbolizes this kind of like tolerant behavior where, you know, his history and the things he's gone through could make him an extremist, could make him really inflexible and unable to sort of see the other side. But he has talked at length about, you know, the people who oppose him. He loves them, and, you know, he understands their position. He doesn't agree with it, but, you know, he understands where they're coming from. Sometimes there's corruption in the system, those kinds of things. But on the whole, he has tolerance for the people who despise him, which is pretty incredible. And I think we really revere and we really look at that as sort of a almost saint-like quality, you know, like we think a lot about the saints and that kind of thing. You can go back to Jesus, the Buddha, you can go back to many historical figures, and the tolerance that they had in their lives and the way that they regarded the people who thought differently than them, it sort of puts them on this like upper caliber of human being, because they're able to understand that we're all human, and the idea of not tolerating a specific kind of human, like, no, I'm sorry, we're all here together, so there's no point in trying to heavily judge and stigmatize and fight against. So that's like the macro level. On the individual level, what can tolerance and flexibility do for you? Well, it really helps. Tolerance really allows you to kind of see the other person's perspective. And I talk about this a few times in the past, but I always say, like, if somebody cuts you off in morning traffic and your immediate drive is to get super angry and be like, oh, this is so inconsiderate, you know, I'm so mad at this person. But that just ruins your day. You know, it's just made you angry. It hasn't really helped anything. It hasn't helped anything at all. It's made you angry, right? But having that tolerance is able to say, well, you know, maybe he just didn't see me in his rearview mirrors. Maybe this person is running to meet his wife at the hospital because she's just given birth. That's, for whatever reason, that's what I always think of. I'm always like, well, maybe somebody in his family is giving birth and he's got to get there now. You know, you never know the situation in that person's life. Maybe they're just super stressed and they have a difficult work life and they really don't like it. And, you know, they're just frustrated. Everybody's really tense. You know, you're driving at a high speed and, you know, you make a little mistake, but like nobody was hurt. So having that tolerance and the flexibility to just say, you know what, I'm willing to go with the flow. I can roll with the punches. It's not a big deal. That allows you just to move through it all. Taoism is all about flow. A lot of people, when they're translating Tao, the great concept of Tao, they think, well, it's flow, it's the flexibility, it's liquid, it's water, it's sort of how the river negotiates the geography, and it doesn't fight anything. It just goes the path of least resistance. And we're taught that is, again, a very wise and sage-like characteristic in human beings. When somebody is flexible, when you might have a plan and a very specific set of things you'd like to achieve, but if the plan changes, if your friends decide, hey, can we go here instead of here, you're able to just roll with it and you're able to flow with it. And 9 times out of 10, you end up having an amazing experience, because you were always going to have an amazing experience as long as you allow yourself just to flow through those things, roll with the punches. We have so many expressions in English that describe this kind of behavior, and they're all very liquid-esque, rolling with the punches, those kinds of things. So I think on an individual level, it gives you a lot of peace and tranquility and things like that. So I think those are the main concepts, the macro concepts about our society and how it affects us in today's world and culture, and the micro level where the individual has a lot of agency and a lot of freedom to decide what you are going to fight for. What hill is worth dying on? Are there any hills worth dying on? I don't know if there are, maybe, but I can tell you that I think flexibility and the tolerance for other people, for situations, for things out of your control, that is really the essence of Tao and the essence of living a peaceful, fulfilled life. And it comes back to, are you going to try and fight life and fight every situation that happens to you? Or are you going to negotiate and work as best you can with the situations at hand? That doesn't mean to just passively give up in life. That means to negotiate the difficult terrain and to find the path of least resistance. So those are the kind of aspects that I think are really important. I'll read the verse at the very end like I do, but it has a lot to do with the idea of living things, being flexible and malleable and willing to, again, go with the flow, roll with the punches, bend instead of break. And it also talks about how dead things are rigid and easy to snap and those kinds of things. And so the verse basically describes kind of the best way to live a life by having that flexibility and being tolerant of others and situations and things. So thank you guys so much for listening. And as always, I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Tolerance and flexibility. Living humans are soft and limber. Dead, they are hard and rigid. Living, the 10,000 grasses and wood species are soft and crisp. Dead, they are withered and tough. So hard and rigid accompany death. Soft and limber accompany life. So if armies are coercive, they do not triumph. When wood is strong, the axe comes out. Strength and dominance reside below. The soft and limber belong higher.